Is a big gaseous ball burning in space in a vacuum. By the way, since we're on the subject of vacuum, fire, the element by which the sun exerts its energy, and I don't care if it's nuclear fission or what, it's still fire, needs what element, folks, in order to continue to burn? Oxygen.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Hey, hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I am Craig McNeill, and today we're going to have a good old-fashioned flat Earth debate, and I'm worried. I'm very, very worried because our guest today, Brian Turner, has told me this is the end of the globe. He's got it all sorted out. He's got a 10-minute presentation for us, and frankly, I guess this is where I give it all up and become a flat earther. Let's introduce the guy that's going to change the world as we know it today. Brian, hello, welcome back to the channel. How are you doing? Let's get your picture up on screen. That would definitely help. I am not prepared today, my guys. Yeah, 1 second. Zoom. There we go. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you very much. Although, like I said, I am scared because as you told me in the pre-show, you're gonna. This is it. This is the end of the globe. This is where it all finishes. So, yeah, I agreed to give you 10 minutes to let everybody know exactly why the Earth is flat and how you have absolutely destroyed the concept of gravity as we understand it. It's amazing. I'm going to have to change everything I understand about the world. I mean, I should probably get a refund for those degrees that I didn't pay for because the Navy did. Maybe the Navy should get a refund for them. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, so Brian, you're a flat earther. How long have you been a flat earther?
I would say probably about maybe 7 years, maybe more. It's been a while.
Wow, 7 years. And what about before that? No brain surgery or traumatic incidents or anything?
Oh no, not at all.
No, okay, cool. That's nice to know. Right, so yeah, 10 minutes.
In fact, I feel as though I was a Trekkie before, you know.
Yeah, you might like my tattoo that's in progress then. Yeah, so 10 minutes, Brian, to convince me and the few hundred people that are already watching that the Earth is flat and gravity is false. Just before you do that, I'll let everybody know that tomorrow I will be hosting Globy McGlobeface and King Nico in a debate of the ages, a showdown for the eons. So make sure you're here for that. But now, for now, Brian, over to you. 10 minutes to end the globe.
Okay. Well, the problem here is it's not so much about the education because the education has been guided to a different direction than the basics. And you all, with the education and the math and everything, you all feel as though you're right. And in that category, you are right, but you're neglecting to see the basics. In this situation, we have to break it down to the actual atom or molecule. An atom or a molecule has to follow certain principles to take up amount of space. That space cannot be it cannot be altered. It has its own space, and there's no other substance that can take up that space. If you're familiar with impenetrability, which is the Pauli exclusion principle, states that every single substance has to have its own space, and no other substance can occupy that space. Well, understanding that and the principles of atoms, we have different states of matter. We have solids, gas, liquid, and plasma. All of these substances have matter. Because they have matter, no other substance can take up the space of that specific uh, matter. So if you have a gas, then a solid can't take up the space of the gas. If you have a solid, um, the solid nothing can occupy the space of the other state of matter. So in this situation, we have Earth and we have the solid elements, which is the earth itself. Then we have the gas elements, which is the air. You all are neglecting to accept the actual space that the air takes up. The air is solid as far as taking up its space. It's a gas, but it's compressible, but it actually takes up space. And if you reference the air pressure, you have the atmospheric pressure is 14.7. That lets you know that it's filled up with air molecules. Well, these air molecules are different elements. All these elements take up space. You can't occupy that space with something else. So when you take a solid object and move it to a different position, first off, that's Newton's first law. You're not acknowledging Newton's first law when you decide to move an object. All natural substances have a natural position in the ground where they were before man decided to move them. That was their natural state of matter, the natural state at rest. When you chose to move that object from that state, that took it from its natural position. So it's trying to go back to that natural position. And I've gave Craig a link that I wanted him to post to let you all know that matter is seeking its equilibrium position. That's why we can't really come up with like the directional vector because it's all based on the environment as well as the medium inside the environment as far as the substance. So if you go, say, way up in the atmosphere and you use multiple substances, they all are going to try and find their equilibrium within that environment. And that's what's going on. All substances are trying to find their equilibrium. When you all think something is falling, it's only trying to find its balance point, its equal environment, its equal density of its environment. So that's where neutral buoyancy comes in. Neutral buoyancy is when an object is basically weightless. It finds its equilibrium point and it no longer has any forces. No upward force, no downward force. It is completely and totally free. So basically this whole thing with gravity is a misunderstanding of actually acknowledging each individual atom or molecule by its own respective property. Like I don't know how it could have wound up going this far for so long, but that's basically what's going on. I mean, as far as the math and everything combined with the math, that's been the education to keep us directed in a different path. But to understand the actual principles of matter, if you start paying attention to the actual principles of matter, disregard man's interactions with matter, you will see that they arrange the atoms and elements arrange themselves by the equilibrium of they arrange themselves to find the equilibrium of their environment.
Is that it?
That's it's like I said, it's about you understanding the information of matter. It's not that complicated. It's pretty simple. But you have to understand the actual atoms and elements and molecules and everything that's going on. If you don't pay attention to that, then you're clueless. You're gonna
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
chasing space. Chasing
Yeah, yeah.
gravity.
This nuclear engineer that you're talking to is clueless about atoms. You're absolutely right. I mean, I don't know what I did in my nuclear engineering degree course,
Okay, so
because I
can I
clearly
ask you a
wasn't
question?
paying attention, right? Because I don't understand
Well,
anything about atoms.
well, let me ask you a question.
You can ask me
Do
a
we have
question.
any natural vacuums? Do we have any natural vacuums in our atmosphere?
The question makes no sense.
Yes, it does. Do we have any natural vacuums in our atmosphere?
Yes.
No, where do we have natural vacuums? What's the
When you
definition
go
of a
up,
vacuum?
the definition of a vacuum, according to physics, is anything with a lower pressure.
Please Google search or
Well,
ask
yeah,
your
no.
little
I mean,
chat GPT.
I
Do
paid
we
attention in
have?
my degree, in my physics degree,
No,
because
no, you
that's
did
my
not.
second
No, you
degree.
did not, because we do not have any natural vacuums in our Earth atmosphere. We do
Well,
not. There is
do
no
you agree that the
environment on
pressure,
Earth.
Brian? Do you agree that the
There is
pressure
no.
gets, Brian? Do you agree that the pressure gets less and less the higher you go?
It does not go to zero. It is not going to the negative.
No, nobody said it goes to zero, but it does get
Okay,
less
so
and less. Yes.
so that means we still have particles of matter
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
within that
But
environment.
that is according to physics a vacuum. Lower pressure
Exactly.
is,
We
but
do not. We do
you are
not
you are
have a
referring
natural
to
vacuum.
the concept of a perfect vacuum, Brian, which doesn't exist.
We don't have. We do not have a natural vacuum in this environment. There is no vacuum in this environment, and you can be honest and tell your followers that we do not have a natural vacuum, or they can get on their Google and search and look and see that Earth has no natural vacuum.
Again, you are talking about the concept of a perfect vacuum, which no one has ever said exists. There is, however, literally a vacuum within the Earth's atmosphere, because lower pressure next to higher pressure creates a vacuum. The concept of a perfect vacuum is when there is absolutely zero pressure, which no one has ever said ever exists.
Hold on, I didn't hear you. I had a call coming in. What did you say now?
I said that you are talking about the concept of a perfect vacuum, absolute zero pressure, which nobody says exists. It's a misunderstanding of yours.
What I'm saying
In
is
physics,
we
the
do not
concept...
have.
hold on. In physics, a vacuum isn't just zero pressure. A vacuum is an area of lower pressure next to an area of higher pressure. And that's what we have in our atmosphere constantly.
An area of a lower vacuum in the area of higher vacuum. So
Yes,
what happens if there's
pressure.
no barrier?
Well, there is no barrier. There is no barrier as you go up in the atmosphere.
Okay, so
Well, let me
in
answer your
physics,
question, Brian. Let me answer your question, dude. As you go up in the atmosphere, there is no barrier between the higher and lower pressure. The pressure just decreases as you go up. Sorry?
I can explain this. I can explain this if you actually start being honest about vacuum.
Well, no, I just explained to you what the concept of a vacuum actually is when we're talking about physics.
Okay, so when you have a vacuum next to pressure, what happens in that situation? Does it not neutralize?
Not in our atmosphere, it doesn't, clearly.
You know why it doesn't neutralize? It doesn't
Gravity,
neutralize
yeah.
because the actual atoms are what's creating the pressure. They are
How do
taking up space.
atoms create pressure specifically, Brian?
What's the definition of density?
You
know
tell
the
me.
definition of density?
Oh, I do, yes.
No, you tell me.
But,
What's the definition of density?
no, I know. I'm just wondering if you do.
I know. What's the definition?
Mass over volume.
Volume, right? Mass
That's what
volume. Okay. So
mass.
by each
What about
layer
mass and volume?
of the
Wait, hold on, Brian, hold on. You said mass volume. What about mass volume?
density is the amount of mass per area of volume.
Right. So mass over volume.
Okay. So
Yeah.
basically, in the higher atmosphere, we have a certain number of less dense molecules.
Uh-huh.
Then in the next layer, we have a certain number of less dense molecules, but they're all molecules in a
There's more of
closed
them.
system.
There's
to
more
create
of them,
that
though.
pressure.
As you go down, there's more molecules, though. Yeah?
Yeah, and that makes the environment more dense because of the
Yeah,
molecules.
yeah. So why, Brian, does the high pressure not go to the low pressure? Because you just
Because
said
there's
that
no
it
space
does.
for it to move. There's
Well, there
no
is.
space
It could
for
go
it
to
to
the area
move.
of lower pressure, where there's less molecules.
I told you, Pauli's exclusion principle. There's no place for the atoms to move if
Well,
there's
there
another atom
is,
in
because
that
there's
space.
less of them, Brian, so they can go to the area where there's less space.
No,
They can take
they're
up that space.
They're less dense. That doesn't mean that there's less of them. That means that they're less internally
No.
dense.
There is wrong. Hold on, Brian. There is less of them. Not the atoms themselves are less dense. That's not how that works. Right. Anyway,
do you mean
all of this misunderstanding
No,
of buoyancy and density is irrelevant.
Don't walk away. What do you mean that that's not how it works? That's exactly how it works.
No, you don't. Atoms. Yeah, but let's say hydrogen atoms. Hydrogen atoms will not change density. They will always have whatever the density is. There isn't a less dense atom. You have the same molecules. You have the same molecules in the air, the same ratio of gases as you go up. There is just less of them. They are more spaced out.
Oh no, man. So you're
Yes.
telling me that the higher up you go, you have a same concentrate of the same atom.
No, I didn't say you have the same concentrate. You have the same ratio, but there is less of them.
There is not the same ratio.
Do you know what ratio means? Do you know what ratio means? By ratio, I mean there is the same percent. Brian, you need to listen, dude. By ratio, I mean there is the same percentage of carbon dioxide to oxygen to nitrogen to all the other things. There is less of it overall, but there is the same ratio of the gases. Right?
No,
but there is a lower pressure because there is less of them overall.
No, there is not. No, there is not.
Yes, there is.
Please do your research.
I've done my research. It was called a physics degree.
There is not.
Brian, Brian, there is the same ratio as you, Brian, as you go up. There is the same ratio. There's the same percentage of mix of gases until you get extremely high.
There's not.
Yes, there is. At 30,000 feet, there is the same ratio of gases as there is at ground level. There is just less of it.
Oh man. Okay, so by what you're saying, how is it harder for a human to just walk on top of a mountain and breathe if it's the same amount of ratio?
Again, there is less of it overall. Brian, you need to listen. There is less of it overall.
Not the same ratio.
Brian,
it's not the same ratio.
Brian, listen. There is less of it overall. There is the same percentage of oxygen to carbon dioxide to nitrogen, but overall I was talking. Overall, there is less of them. They are more spaced out compared to lower down. So why, Brian, do the ones that are lower down not go and fill the space between the ones that are more spaced out?
Because although you don't realize it, but we just talked about it not being a natural vacuum in Earth. So in Earth's atmosphere,
I explained why you're wrong, of course.
Hold on. Earth's atmosphere does not have a natural vacuum, so therefore that space is filled up with something. You're saying it's
it's not.
Like
there's less of them. It's more spaced out. You're wrong. Right, Brian. Hold on, Brian.
What's the space between the molecules? What's the space in between them?
It's all spaced out. There is less pressure. There is less of them overall because there is that's how you have less pressure. So there is space between them. Nothing. The space between them is nothing. That's why there's less pressure.
Did you just say nothing? What's nothing?
Nothing.
What's nothing? Frank?
Do you know that the majority of an atom is empty space?
What is nothing?
Nothing. It is nothing.
We're talking outside of atoms. So you're telling me up high in the atmosphere, there is an atom, then there's nothing, and another atom.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, that's the definition of a vacuum, but a vacuum is
No.
not.
A vacuum is when there is no pressure overall. If you want to take the areas between atoms, yes, there is a vacuum between atoms. In fact, Brian, listen. Brian, hold on. In fact, the majority of the space in an atom is empty space. There is, in an atom, mostly...
We're not talking about inside
Brian,
the atom.
I'm
We're
talking.
about outside
Brian,
the
I'm
atom.
talking. I'm talking. There is mostly, inside of an atom, empty space. And outside of the atom, when there is not another atom right next to it, there is also empty space, and then you have another atom. How much of that empty space determines what the pressure is.
Are you serious right now? That's like phenomenon and anomaly. That makes absolutely no sense.
Did you not
Empty
know?
space.
What
There
do you
is no
think?
empty
Okay, so
space.
why do you
There
think
is
there is
no
less
empty
pressure?
spaces.
Brian,
There
why
is
do
no
you,
empty spaces.
Brian, why do you think there becomes less
There's
pressure?
no such thing as an empty space, man, except for the
That's
imaginary
exactly.
space
Oh my
that y'all
God.
thinking about. There's no such thing.
Right. So you don't think that there's empty space between atoms?
There's no such thing as empty space, man.
What?
Not naturally in our environment. There's no empty space, man.
Right.
There's
Right.
no empty
Brian.
space. In
Brian.
our
Why is
environment.
there less pressure when you go up then?
I told you, because it's a collection of atoms, man. The collection of atoms, the density within the atoms is less.
The what?
That's
No,
why
the atoms themselves don't change density. An oxygen
If you
atom
take a
doesn't
helium
have different
balloon-
density to another oxygen atom.
If you
They
take
stay.
a
The
helium
density of the
balloon,
atoms
man,
stay
a
the
helium
same.
balloon go.
Brian.
It will go
Brian. Brian.
until it gets
Brian.
to
Brian.
the
Brian.
equilibrium
Brian.
position,
Brian.
and then
Brian.
it
Brian.
stops.
Brian. 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 The density of an atom doesn't change. That's something that doesn't happen.
I'm not talking about the density of the atom. I'm talking about the actual atoms and where they arrange themselves up in the atmosphere. Which is more dense, hydrogen or oxygen? Which one is more dense?
That question makes no sense. Density refers to
What do
the
you mean
amount
it
of
doesn't-
stuff in an area.
Okay, so what's protons and neutrons?
Protons and neutrons are subatomic particles that make up atoms.
Okay, and where is that at? Is that not stuff inside of an atom?
They're empty space between them, yes. That's why I said the
but there's
majority of an
stuff
atom is empty
so,
space.
So there's stuff inside of an atom, right?
Yes.
So
That's how things
so the more
exist.
stuff inside of the more stuff inside of an atom would make that atom more dense, right?
No, that's not how that works.
Oh, really? It's
Yeah.
not.
No, because
It's not how that
an
works.
atom with more stuff in is actually bigger. Like the size of the protons and neutrons and
Okay,
electrons don't
Okay.
change.
Okay. So let me
Brian,
ask you a question.
hold on.
Let me ask you
No,
a
Brian,
question.
hold on. Hold on.
Hold on. Let me ask
No,
you
no,
one
you hold
question.
on and
Let me
listen.
ask
I
you
was in the
one
middle of
question.
saying something,
One-
Brian.
one
I was in
question.
the middle
One
of saying
question.
something.
Still on
Brian,
that subject.
whoa. I was in the middle of saying something. You need to not talk over me, right? The density of protons, neutrons, and electrons do not change. They are what they are.
Okay.
It's-
My question is iron more dense or less dense than oxygen?
Is iron more dense or less? What do you think? Is there more stuff
No,
in a
I'm
volume
asking you a question,
compared to
man.
oxygen?
What's the answer? Is
Right.
oxygen more dense or less dense than iron?
In what volume?
It doesn't matter. In an atom, let's take one atom. Which one is more dense?
Well, you've got one atom, so that's not density. Density would be the amount of atoms in a thing.
Okay,
One
so
atom, you can't measure
one
density
atom-
of one atom.
One atom. Hold on. One atom in collection makes molecules, right? So we'll have a molecule which will be more. So let's take a molecule of iron and let's take a molecule of oxygen. Which one is more dense?
What volume are they in? Are they in the same volume?
Same volume.
Well, in that case, iron is more dense because there's more stuff.
It's the same volume, and you're saying it's more stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to the atom.
Yeah, one
How
atom
many-
doesn't work like that.
How much stuff is in an iron atom versus how much stuff is in an oxygen atom? Is there not less stuff?
So
in
you're
oxygen atoms
jumping
than there is?
between right, Brian. What you're doing is you're jumping between macro and quantum mechanics, and you
No,
cannot compare
because
them like.
you're
Brian, I was in the
denying
middle of a
actual
sentence.
fact.
Brian, I was in the middle of a sentence. Be good, right? You are trying to mix macro and quantum mechanics. That doesn't work. This is your misunderstanding, right? All of this doesn't matter,
No, it's not.
right? Because I can just ask you a very simple thing, right?
It
I just
does
want
matter.
Brian.
That's the problem.
Brian, just
You wanna
stop and
dismiss
listen.
it,
Brian,
and
I let you
can't.
talk for 10 minutes. At least let me say
Go ahead,
something
man.
without jumping
You're
in.
good. Go ahead.
Brian, be quiet.
Go ahead.
Brian, I'm going to demand you shut the fuck up and listen. All right?
Oh, hold on now. You said you was gonna be nice now.
Well, I've tried,
You
but
said
you
we
keep
were gonna
over
be
talking me, right? If you give me the respect I've
No.
given you by allowing
You-
you to talk, I will give you
You
respect.
don't have to
But
get
what you are
respectful
doing
now.
is you
You
are
don't have to get
inducing
respectful.
FTFE by constantly over talking me and interrupting. Now shut the
No,
fuck
man, I'm
up
talking
and
facts.
listen,
You
and I will return
Look,
to
dude,
being
look,
respectful.
you're not gonna disrespect me like
I will
that,
mute
man.
you now
don't hang
whilst
up
I
the
talk.
phone.
No, you have been
Man, I'm
disrespecting
done.
me.
I'm done. You're
If
not
you
gonna
want,
disrespect me like
you've disrespected me by constantly over
that.
talking me,
No, I
Brian.
did not.
Yes,
I
you
did
did.
not. I
Brian,
did not.
you
I did
constantly
not.
overtalked me. I
I
get
did
2
not.
words to my sentence.
No.
Now listen,
No.
and I will
No.
return to being respectful.
No.
Brian,
No.
listen,
No.
and I will return to being respectful. Be disrespectful, and I will be
No, that's
disrespectful
it.
back. Now
That is
listen,
it.
like I did to you.
That is it, man.
Brian, listen like I did to you.
No.
I gave you the respect of
I
listening. Show the
I've
same
blocked
respect.
too many people like you. I'm not doing
Brian,
that.
I gave
I'm
you
not doing
respect
that.
of listening. Do the fucking same to me, or show that you are
You're not
disrespectful.
gonna disrespect me like that. I did
No,
not
you've been
disrespect
disrespecting
you.
me
You're
by
not gonna
constantly over
disrespect
talking me, Brian. I have been trying to ask you a
No.
question. If you show me respect, I will show you respect, because you have been disrespecting me by constantly interrupting me. Respect isn't given, it is earned. Show respect and I will do the
No.
same.
No, I showed you respect by
No, you
by
didn't.
entertaining
No, you
your
have
little
constantly
show.
you have constantly interrupted me and
By
overtalked me,
entertaining
Brian.
your little show. I'm
Brian?
not gonna do this.
Brian, you have constantly interrupted me
No.
and overtalked me. I gave you the respect
No.
of listening to you. I am asking for the same. I have a simple question for you, Brian. How do you explain certain things? Are you going to listen? Brian, are you there? Brian? I think you ran away. I was trying to ask one question. Literally every time I spoke, every single time, he'd interrupt me. And I'd have to tell him to stop so that I could speak. This is what they do. One second. Nope. He's being a big baby. One sec. Well, I guess he's too much of a baby. What can I say? Yeah, that was my longest debate for the past 3 months. So he can be disrespectful, but can't take someone calling him out on it. Guitar Dad became a new member. Thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate it. Signa Step, been a member for 25 months. Says 25 damn months, a member, and 70 months subscriber, and my dad is paying 24% interest on Super Chats, and I still have to be told it's Signa Step, okay? Look, you are what I fucking say you are, and you will enjoy it. I love you, Cygnus TSP, which was the name of your band. I do pay attention. But now you're Cygnus Step. Deal with it. Dihydrogen monoxide, $2, £2 rather. Brian Turner or brain tumor? Number 2. Dihydrogen monoxide, £5 says, who took that picture of Craig on the thumbnail? They're getting fired from NASA. Professional photographer. The turtle moves for £2. Craig's checking he's still got a roof. For now, I do. Michela for 2 months has been a member and says, oh, I feel lighter already. Jack Fetter, $4.99, says, so, first question that comes to mind, what degrees does he have? None. Second question, has he ever suffered a brain injury? Probably. Is he on medication? Most definitely. Tim Davidson for $2 says, the math and the matter, and that's what's going on. Tim Davidson for $5 says, a vacuum is an area of low pressure. There's one in front of every storm. Yeah, try and explain to him that. Derek the Dollar for £2 says, what is it with flirfs and streaming from phones? He was in his car when he fucking started. Icy Spin, member from 19 months, says, why don't you ask Desert File? Well, I would, right? But my hard drive is broken. And my hard drive contains all of my video clips. Which is why my background is now a massive space turtle instead of the fancy graphics that I normally have. And I do not have my intros and outros, which is why I had to play it from a previous video on a screen capture until I... Does anyone know how to recover data from a broken hard drive? Asking for a friend. Try and see if he'll come back. He's probably too much of a coward. No answer. Ah, well. They just don't get it that being disrespectful to somebody, like constantly over talking them and interrupting them and not listening to what they're saying is going to get the reaction that they get. I tried to be nice to him, but I got frustrated. And I'm going to tell you what, guys, I've got a lot of frustration that I've been waiting to get out. Looks like Brian is too scared to actually have a conversation because he doesn't let other people talk. Derek the Dollar for £2 says, ask him if he knows what a super void is. Samantha Jane says, take out the USB enclosure and connect it directly to SATA, then use Preform Recover. Yeah, it's one of those dreaded directly soldered onto the USB controller. So there's no SATA input. It's a MyBook 8TB hard drive with its proprietary like double slit USB thing. And you can't use the SATA drive on it. It just doesn't work. The only thing I've seen so far is literally sending it off to a recovery lab, which will cost me about, I don't know, $1,000. Hey, Clive, yeah. I do accuse the flirts of over talking. because they're the ones that do it, which makes me do it back to them. That's the thing, right? If he didn't constantly overtalk me and let me actually get a word out and a couple of sentences out, like I let him talk, I only interrupted him when he'd already interrupted me. So yeah, I do overtalk them, but that's when they don't let me talk. Alison for $5 says, don't you just love when flirts bring up a topic that you're a literal expert in and then think they know better than you? Love from Oz. Thank you very much, buddy. The Turtle Moves for £2 says, did he really say space is full of space? Yeah, no, he thinks that between atoms, there's still other stuff. So, yeah. Mr. Andrew says, the recovery specialist here on YouTube, could you send me some of their details? Yeah, Joe Black, the problem was I saved a picture of Mikey Smith's toe on my hard drive, and I don't think it appreciated it. So... Oh, Borg, I don't like to use my chat like that to raise money for personal stuff. I'm a big boy and I should cover my stuff myself. I appreciate all the stuff you do, like, you know, but I'm not gonna do a stream just to go, please give me money because something's broken. I'd rather like work for super chats and memberships and stuff for fun. Gary IOW £5 says, to recover data you have to pay money and usually quite a lot, unfortunately. Yes, I know. They're gonna have to find a donor. Right. When I connect it to my PC, it does the connection noise, but it doesn't show up in my in my drive list. So if I go do Windows plus X and go to disk drives, it shows up as not initialized, and when I try to initialize it, it says fatal hardware error. So I'm assuming that something within the drive itself, maybe the arm that reads the data has broken or something, possibly during the move here, which is kind of annoying. Says Dumb, I know. I should not have saved the toe. You're absolutely right. Rachbot says to check XDM. The annoying thing is that literally everything is saved on that hard drive. And I'm a dumbass and didn't have redundancies. So I've got nothing right now. So I'm like all my effects and everything I have to build it all from scratch. Because why not? Oh, Rachbot, I thought, yeah, that is a plushie of Mikey's toe. I didn't realise you could get those. Oh, Brian won't come back. He's too scared. Max says he's got a treat for me.
Unhinged jaw. Oh, I need to watch that again.
Masks on planes very often. I fly a decent amount nowadays. They were masks this time. I don't know if there's something new going on, but
Goes to the side, tongue bites it. Oh,
I'm not showing that. I thought I was showing that.
Unhinged jaw. Oh, I need to watch that again.
masks on planes very often. I fly a decent amount nowadays. They were masks this time. I don't know if there's something new going on, but
Goes to the side, tongue bites it. Oh,
chatted with Andrew Wilson a little bit.
Mac unhinged jaw.
He's a method. Max, is that the members only video that he did that wasn't members only? It's Rubik's $2 says my brother may be able to recover data. I just don't know what to do right now. But apparently there is some recovery data experts on YouTube, so I can look at them. Mabong's Lab says try another cable. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can try it on other machines and other cables and stuff. But spinning platters, Jack. I'm pretty sure it's one of the platters that's broken, which is like, you know, death for a hard drive. Fucking 8 terabytes of shit on there, man. Is that actually a nightmare? You guys don't realize how devastating this is. Gary IOW for £10 says, yeah, that sounds bad. As much as it pains me, and it does, get Google Drive and pay a few quid more for more storage. I have 2 terabyte for less than 20 quid per month, worth every penny. Yeah, I should. Yeah, Max, is that the Max? Is that the video? His members only video? Because I definitely want to watch that. Yeah, I don't know if Toon would know anyone. Toon is more of a he writes email software to stop hackers and shit. Bill Tetley, member for 20 months, says, hi Craig, hope the move went well. Engage laughter protocol, duration 5 seconds, immediate stop, then flip. That was weird. Can you not do that, Bill? And how did you get access to that? Right, well, Max, yeah, I'll download that. Thank you very much. Yeah, Icy Spin, that hurt me. Please don't send that again. Yeah, Clive, I kept meaning to back up stuff and just never got round for it. DP, it will be ready for Tuesday. I've just been incredibly busy with life. Crashes $5 says, hard drives and electrons are fake, lol. It's not much hope if it helps to bad the flurf ran away. Yeah, well, flurfs are flurfs, you know that. Alright guys, I guess it's going to be an early shutdown tonight then, because I didn't have anything else planned. But like I said, I am back tomorrow, hosting a debate between Globy McGlobeface and King Nico. And then I might do some on Tuesday before Toon as well. It depends. I've got a bunch of stuff that I need to do, and I'm still really, really busy getting the house sorted, painting and you know, organising stuff, and daughter in school and son at college. It's just, life is still crazy. Having to uproot your entire life, move it like across your county, and you know, start fresh is quite hard to do, especially when shit gets broken. But yeah, the worst thing is I don't have my intros and outros, right, which is bloody annoying. So what I have to do is play you a video of it from a previous video. Also means I don't have the airplanes video, but we'll get there. Thanks, Icy Spin. I appreciate you, Dick. Bill Tetley, $20 says, thank you for your continued cooperation in protocol refinement. All I had to do was put on a bad fake wig, make a fake badge, and pretend to be Bill Nye so I get access to the mainframe where I'm working on some code. Bill Nye does not have access to the mainframe. We barely let him in the janitor's closet. The Turtle Moves for £5 says, I lost a drive with a load of photos. Now I use a NAS drive and one of those drives failed in that. Yeah. Yeah, don't buy a my book with spinning platters. Because you look at it wrong and it breaks, which is never good. Timo Lynch, member for 10 months, says, would you show Catch Challenge to Andrew Wilson? I didn't know there was one. I'll look at it for next stream. Yeah, so guys, thank you very much for coming along tonight. Jack Fetter, it is a let me, I'll tell you directly now. One sec. It's a WD My Book. Unfortunately, it's got one of the demon drives. It's got a soldered on USB interface. The USB port is part of the actual hard drive's PCB, not a removable adapter, which means I can't remove it and plug the drive into a SATA dock. WD and their infinite bastardy decided to slap hardware level encryption through the USB interface too, so even if you did connect the drive via SATA by swapping the PCB, the data would still be encrypted garbage. So yeah, I basically lost everything on that hard drive unless someone can figure out how to recover it for me. Fun, right? Jiffy Combs $2 says, can we say Brian turned her around and ran? Yes, you can absolutely say that. But guys, thank you for watching. I love you all, and I will see you tomorrow. In the meantime, remember that stupidity is not a right. Fight the flat earth. I've got to press the button, hold on. Fight the flat, 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 fight
Hi, my name's Nathan Oakley, and I have been lying to people about the Earth being flat.
You know, I want to be a urinator.
To hide the fact
This
that I have a
morning,
small penis.
I went to the toilet.
I'm masturbating.
You call me elf again, you're gonna see. You're gonna see what's gonna happen to you.
Hi, my name's Nathan Oakley, and I have been lying to people about the Earth being flat for a lot of years. I did this to hide the fact I have a small penis.
Hey guys, you want to hear a funny story while we're all chatting, dude? I'm dating a first grader.
Official Flat Earth Globe discussion. We got 140,000 members in there. The group was just deleted a few minutes ago.
When I was a young boy, I grew up on the farm. I'm a country boy, and I used to fuck the cows and the pigs. I used to fuck the pigs, and the cows would come, and I would pat them and look into their eyes. Pigs look gorgeous, and cows are beautiful. I love the look of cows.
No!
I'm a dumb flat earther, and I don't understand science.
I'm not prepared for that.